let them know, I've been coming for real. Coming for real.
Hey, I'm reppin' purple, gold, flick, pose. Another touchdown party in the end zone. Reppin' purple, gold, flick, pose. Another touchdown party in the end zone. Don't try to act like you don't, I'm on the hill, cause it's real. I done did it from the booth to the field, man, for real. I'm turned all the way up to the ceiling, how I'm feeling. We ain't gotta talk about it, man, we live it. Let them know that we the sickest purple, baby. From my head to my arms, Martin Storm coming through. Beat, sound like a bomb, no need for no alarm. Porters all in the farm, go ask them, they know it's here from Louisiana to Dallas. H-Town to Cali, can't forget about the silk, my doggone it hit. I gotta do it for 6, or should I say landlord? Back to the band, boy. I know it's gonna turn them up, sing along with the fans, boy. Yelling, watch this. No, they can't stop this on every top list. Homecoming poppin', yeah, we cannot miss. It ain't no question, I'm a Panther. Set the boy every time that we do it, they do it. I'm reppin' purple, gold, flick, pose. Another touchdown party in the end zone. Reppin' purple, gold, flick, pose. Another touchdown party in the end zone. Don't try to act like you don't,
What's going on? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009, back with another episode of PV versus everybody. And listen, it is that time. Hey, we here, week 3. It's time to get it in, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this evening. And listen, I'm still in my baby duty time, right? So I might have to pause for a couple minutes. Y'all might have to give me a second when we need to transition. You know what I'm saying? My baby girl asleep right now. But hey, listen, we got some things to talk about this evening, though. You feel me? But before we get into it, man, I want to remind you guys, if you're not following us over on Instagram and on Twitter, make sure you're following us on both platforms. My guy is Code Lane, you know what I'm saying? Janarius Housey has been drafting up some awesome graphics in reference for, especially for the players, man, to show what they've been doing in our PV Fantasy League. And so you can check that out for sure on Instagram, man. You know what I'm saying? So you can see each and every week, like, what's going on. I might have to pull those in too, so you guys can check those out, because I mean, it's literally awesome. You know what I mean? What my man has been doing and drafting up. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can even pull one of these things up so you guys can see, because it's super dope, man. And I'm loving, everything he's presenting. And like I say last week, if you're looking for graphics yourself, man, he is, definitely out here, you know what I'm saying, doing it big. You see one of the graphics right here, man, he did for our guy, you know what I'm saying, Stephen Shaw last week, 6.5 points for him, you know what I'm saying, in our PV Fantasy. And so, man, he got him drafted up for each and every one of the student athletes, right? Each and every week he's been putting them out. So shouts out to that. You can check that out for sure if you're over on our, you know what I'm saying, if you're over on our Instagram, because we definitely been putting that over there, you know what I'm saying? So definitely checking it out. Big shouts out to all, the student athletes, man, you know what I'm saying? And so definitely want to show them love, you know what I mean? We got he did a graphic for each and every one of the players last week who put up some big numbers. I got Connor Wisham, you know what I'm saying, who dropped 14.3 points in fantasy. I got, of course, Shamar Savage, who dropped 24.8 points last week, right? Cam Peters with 19.3, and the young buck Javen Jackson and Aiden Jones, right? 8 points for him, and Aiden Jones dropped 5.5 points, right? You know what I'm saying? Both of those young guys doing big things. And so again, if you want to check all of those out, you'll be able to see all of those if you go over to our to our Instagram page and our Twitter, right? So just wanted to let you guys know that, right? And there you go, just you guys, so you can see, man, the graphics and what he's doing, man, almost like a little player card he put together. So super dope, man. And I just run through them real quick so you guys can see as we're getting started, because we're gonna get into that fantasy, because I know some boys out here feeling away. But listen, the fantasy is tough this year. All right, it's tough. It's real in the field this year, man. And so again, shouts out to Janarius. It's cold lane it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all get in touch with him if y'all got some graphics needs. Also, go and like and subscribe to the channel if you're not. I know most people who be coming over and checking it out aren't subscribed. Show some love, man. Subscribe to the channel, because the goal, right, is 600 subs. We're almost there. We're pushing. We less than 20 away. So go ahead and show some love by subscribing to the channel, man. And let's get into it, right? And also, I want to remind y'all, we're doing big things. We continue to do more, right? And so we really are trying to, add some different flavor to the platform, right? And some stuff that's for the benefit of every single, school. But it's always PV versus everybody. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So we got our guy, Coach Heish Northam. This is a Southern alum. He coached at Graham. He's coached at TSU. And obviously he coached at Prairie View A&M University as well. And so he's going to be joining our Sunday show called The Recap, right? Where we go through all of the different SWAC games, all the MEAC games, right? And of course, obviously, we're going to be talking about the recap of the Prairie View game. I mean, we got a huge segment where we really break down the PV game. And we got some special segments for you guys on this show as well that we've really been putting together, man. So I really want you guys to just lock in, join us on Sunday evenings for that. Coach Heish Northam and just all of the knowledge you got. Like we come up with some things on the Sunday show, man. So make sure you're locked in for that. Also, listen, the 1876 Alliance is together. We're doing some big things. Listen, the NIL game is about to get turned up. I'm just letting y'all know that, right? The NIL game is about to get turned up at the university. I'm just letting you know. All right. It's here. All right. We here, right? And it's right on time, right? Because with all of the things that's going on from the top, hey, listen, we got to get prepared to be able to keep some of our guys here, and also be to bring some ladies and some guys into the building as well, right? You know what I'm saying? And so 1876 Alliance is in preparation. It's already together, but it's in preparation to really start building toward some of the NIL goals that we got. And listen, if you're talking about building toward goals, one goal that I know many people want to build toward is home ownership, right? And so I got to shout out to my guy, Jeff McKissick, right? If you don't know, he is a PV alum, Texas licensed loan officer with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company, and he'll guide you seamlessly through the home buying process. See, many of us are unaware of our credit score or our true financial situation, but Jeff will help you to develop a step-by-step plan to improve your financial standing, making your dream to own a home achievable sooner than you think. He understands your financial situation may not be perfect. I mean, many of us, our situations aren't, right? But it's okay. Listen, the sooner you get an understanding and start that conversation, you're able to solve those problems, right? So don't let the fear of achieving, new heights hold you back from getting the home of your dreams, perfect for your growing family, or hosting those PV watch parties. Get started now on taking the first step towards your new home and taking the next big step in your life. So don't delay. Talk with Jeff today so you can be in your home tomorrow. And he looks forward to speaking with you soon. And again, he reminds you, don't forget to come out and support all PV athletics, right? You know what I'm saying? We got the volleyball team this evening taking on number 25 TCU, doing big things. I'm loving the schedule that Coach Lindsay put together. It's not a schedule that you see them getting a lot of wins, but man, they challenging themselves. UCLA, Arizona, right? Now you got the game against TCU. I mean, this is an awesome schedule they put together to really challenge the girls so that when they get to SWAC play, it's going to be crazy. It's going down, right? So again, shouts out to my guy, Jeff. Make sure you get in touch with him if you're trying to get your home buying needs in order. And so with that being said, listen, let's get to it, because I know there's been chatter. I know there's been some chatter, right? Listen, if you ain't on the list, if you ain't on the podium, I ain't doing nothing funny. I ain't doing nothing fishy. Your score just ain't high enough. All right. That just is what it is. Your score just ain't high enough. All right. It's real competition out here. And so talking about PV fantasy, right? Again, we're doing a week to week winner, but we also doing a yearly winner this year, right? Doing some big things, right? And so first and foremost this is week 2, actually, not week 1. Forgive me on that, right? This is actually for week number 2. Shouts out to Carrie Mickens, co-host on the Sunday show, you know what I'm saying, in first place, 55.5 points. You see how close this was, right? Richard Atiba came in second place this week, 54.4 points. And Doug, class of 05, came in third place at 53.1. Listen, if you're not on this list, that means you weren't in the top 3 this week, okay? Because I know, listen, boys hit me up like, I know I won fantasy this week, and I had to let them know you actually didn't. Okay, it's okay though, right? All right, that's always next week. Because listen, it's a year. We're doing something for the year 2. All right, we're trying to put something together for the winner for the year 2. So hey, keep coming through. Hey, we're gonna drop the fantasy link, you know what I'm saying? So you guys can go ahead and fill out your fantasy, you know what I'm saying, fantasy team for this week as well. I'm gonna make sure I drop that link in the chat. But this is the leaderboard too as well, right? So this is the leaderboard for the year so far for PV Fantasy Football. Number 1, we got Richard Atiba at 85.2 points. Kerry Mick is in second place, 84.1. Brandon Lee in third, 82.2. And then Jimmy coming in fourth, 80.5. Isaiah Wilson at 70.3. All right, 70.3. What's going on, Jared? How you doing? Yeah, we're gonna talk about the expectations for the game too as well. Got the theme song. I know, Elvin. I know, man. Listen, there's still time though. There's still time. It's not over. All right, it's not over. I know we got, we got a couple people already in the field out week 3. But listen, let me go and drop the link for you guys. So make sure you get your stuff in for week 3. All right, and listen, think twice about your list. Think twice. All right, because this gonna be the Michigan State week, and we're gonna talk about the game in a second. Now, before we get into the meat of the show today, right? And we got some interesting. We gotta remember some stuff today. But before we get into that, we also are doing an HBCU fantasy football league as well. And listen, I increased my numbers in week 2, but I ain't increased it as much as that boy Blue. Listen, that boy Blue is going crazy on us right now. All right, listen, he had a triple-digit number this week. It was crazy. All right. First one to break through the triple digits with 115 points this week. It's crazy. It was crazy. All right. Swacking the Fool, G from Swacking the Fool, finished second this week, 88.4 points. Hey, I'm there. I'm third, 79.4. I'm still there. All right. I'm just trying to stay in striking distance. If I can do that, I'm good. Blue gonna slip up. He gonna slip up. And when he slip, I'm gonna be right there to take first place. All right. So I'm just waiting on it. All right. Doc from HBCU Overdrive, fourth place. My boy Kobe from Blitz City, fifth at 70 points. Swacking the Fool, Swack Talk Sewell, 66.5 points this week. And then She Loves D coming in the rear, 56.7. Golden Boot didn't get their picks in, so they got 0 this week, so they way behind. All right, they way behind. So if you look at the league standings, though, again, I'm in striking distance. I'm in second place right there in striking distance, right? You know what I'm saying? And so again, if you're not following HBCU Fantasy on Instagram, HBCU Fantasy on Twitter, make sure you're following both platforms, right? It's another way for us to show love to the players, right? Show love to the HBCU football, right? To these guys who are doing big things. And again, it just again helps the general individual, right? To really start to know and pay attention to, sometimes we pay attention to certain players from certain schools, but there's a lot of guys, right, who don't get love. And so this is really another way for these guys to really get love out here in the HBCU streets, in the HBCU world. So with that being said, man, hey, it's time to get to it. Listen, we got a special segment we got today, right? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you got to remember, right? Sometimes you just can't move forward. Sometimes you gotta look back in the past to remember where you're coming from. All right. So we got a special segment, you know what I'm saying? We introducing today, you know what I'm saying? And so I want to let you guys in on this special segment. Do you remember? All right. Do you remember the time? Right now, you might be saying, Lionel, what are you talking about? It's okay. Listen, I'm about to let you know. Okay, I'm about to let you know what I'm talking about because I want to know if you remember.
Prairie View goes on the road to play against Northwestern State.
Northwestern State.
Yeah, Northwestern.
Yeah, I never would have thought I said that, but yeah, Northwestern State.
Y'all know that was a school last year that was
they just competed with the FBS school last week.
I know, but it's just
we know.
The fact that
we definitely know. We know. We also recognize what we saw from
I know.
We got Northwestern State versus Prairie View. Listen, the first meeting between both programs that I can find, Northwestern State lost in week 1, 62-28 to Tulsa. The last time PV beat a Southland team, which Northwestern State is a part of the Southland Conference, was in 2022 against Lamar. They beat Lamar 54-20. But with this game, man, I'm going to go Northwestern State. And this Northwestern State, they put up 28 points at least against Tulsa, who's an FBS team. Now, the fact that they was able to do that, that means they can score. I'm looking at Prairie View. They was held to 3 field goals against Texas Southern. They could not find the end zone. And if they can't find the end zone with Cooley as the quarterback and no run game, I think it's going to be trouble with them having to go on the road to Northwestern State. Even though Northwestern State with huge turnaround, new coach, and so much more. But hell, that was the same thing they just played against with Texas Southern. So with that, with the being said, I'm going Northwestern State over Prairie View in this game.
I don't think that their defense can stop anybody. It doesn't look. Listen, you can say whatever you want about PV, and I say a lot. They always had a decent front seven. It was boring. It wasn't special. It wasn't nothing extravagant, but they played sound, fundamental football, and they got pressure with their 4. This is not the same 4. So Northwestern State by at least 2 touchdowns, in my personal opinion.
Prairie View goes on the road to play against Northwestern State.
I just want to know if you remember, all right? Because I remember the time when boys said PV was gonna lose by 2 touchdowns. I remember the time when boys said, "Yeah, we talking about the same school that only plays this game." Like, yeah, we know that's the school we talking about. Yeah, we remember. All right, maybe you don't remember because I know sometimes people be forgetting, right, what they said. I just want to remind y'all, right, this is supposed to be a team that beat us by 2 touchdowns. And really, we should beat them by 3 touchdowns. Okay, but that's a whole different conversation. We already talked about that. That's a whole different conversation. I'm just reminding, all right? I'm just reminding y'all to remember the time. Okay, just remember the time. So we just introduced this new segment. All right, we might bring this segment back throughout the year. I don't know, right? You guys got to pay attention. You got to be here, and you got to pay attention so you can remember the time. You know what I'm saying? So. With that being said, you feel me? Obadiah said he remembers. You know what I'm saying? He remembers. Elvin remembers. Richard remembers. All right, we got okay. I see my boy Tyrese remembers. You know what I'm saying? Miss McCoy remembers. Okay, listen. I just want to remind y'all of what was said. So then when y'all be hearing people prognosticating, all right, you know what I'm saying? I want y'all to remember what they said and what they talked about. So y'all can remember that we were supposed to be losers to Northwestern State. Remember that we wasn't chosen by anybody. I don't remember anybody choosing us to beat Northwestern State if I can remember, right? If I can remember the time correctly, right? But yeah, we put up 468 yards. Again, the defense played well. Now, see the reason you might say, well, how in the world did people choose Northwestern State? You know what I'm saying? They didn't have nothing to say when we win. Yeah, that's true, right? Now I want you to understand why in the world would they talk about a team and say, listen, you were gonna lose to Northwestern. It's almost like they don't watch football. It's almost like they don't watch football. And I want to submit to you the reality is it's because they don't watch, right? It's because they don't watch. Now I don't want you to believe me just because I say it. I'm gonna let them say it themselves.
Well, he asked the question. He said, if you would have watched the game, you would have known. Newsflash: nobody watches PV games. So let's move on. When they play, it's just you look for a score. Nobody actually tunes in to watch PV. You just look for the final score. That's it. So no, nobody knows what happens in this game unless you saw the score.
Oh man, go ahead.
So hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? If you got to know who you're listening to, all right. Some boys out here not even watching the game, but they want to tell you about your team. All right, they want to tell you about your defense, but they ain't watching the game to know your defense. They ain't watching the game. They watching stats. They watching stuff scrolling at the bottom of ESPN. All right, they want to tell you about your offense or the quarterback you have or don't have, but they ain't even watched the game. You know what I'm saying? So listen, you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt, but we remember the time. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Mr. Bowers, come on now. Let them know. Again, people talking, but it's like, did you watch the game? Right? Because all people see is 31 points. Like, how your defense play well, 31 points. Well, obviously you didn't watch the game. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it is what it is. All right. So let's keep it going, man. So this week, man, we got the Michigan State game coming up. And so I got 20 questions again. If you want to call into the show, 516-253-3434. We got that link set up for you guys. Also, if you want to jump on the show through StreamYard, I have dropped that link as well. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that's what I'm saying. All turnovers and chunk plays. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. You know what I mean? Yep, that is what it is. You know what I mean? So, hey, but listen, we got 20 questions, man. We want to talk about this week again. If you have a question, you can send it to PV_versus_everybody on Twitter or on Instagram. All right. You know what I'm saying? Send it on over to me and we can get it on the show. But first and foremost, man, I want to know your thoughts. We're going to run through a couple of these. This is a big game for this guy right here, right? A guy who has NFL aspirations. Listen, three letters. That's the reason. This is one of the main reasons this game is scheduled and it's great. And listen, Michigan State looks to have a pretty stout defense. Like, they play pretty well on defense, right? NFL, them three letters, that's important for this guy right here, right? And so I want to know, do you think Shamar Savage over or under 4.5 receptions, right? He has averaged 6 receptions so far throughout the season, right? 6 receptions each of the first 2 games. Over 100 yards, of course, in the first 2 games for each game. This is a big game for him, man, to be able to show up, to show out, and to really put some tape on film against a D1, you know what I'm saying, cornerback. It's going to be huge, because if you don't know, Shamar Savage right now is Pro Football Focus has him listed as the 21st wide receiver right now, right? I mean, listen, we're not talking about 21st in HBCU football. We're not talking about 21st in FCS. Literally 21st out of all the receivers in all of the nation. That's big. That's huge, right? And so this is a really big game for him, man. You know what I'm saying? And so I see we got Savage over. Jared says over. Q says don't force the deep balls. Let them get the curls and stops and work their DBs. Yeah, listen. I mean, and that's the reality, right? The truth is, it would be better if you see him in different ways, right? You know what I'm saying? Instead of just 3 deep passes, right, or 5 deep passes, right? It'd be better to see him on a curl, on an out route, right? You know what I'm saying? On a drag, like, okay, you can see him in all different situations and scenarios. See him in the run game. This is really a big game for Savage when you talk about his potential, right, to be an NFL level and caliber receiver, right? Because the size is there, the speed is there, right? The connections is there. I mean, next year you could see 2 Prairie View wide receivers in the NFL, man. And so, yeah. Hey, listen, that's why I put it at 4.5. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're gonna be close. Say taking over. You also got to realize, right, this game against Michigan State, how much does he even play in the game is a whole another question too as well. Mr. Bingman saying I like number 20. I like number 20 as well. He definitely gonna get I think he's gonna get some good burn in this game as well. All right, let's keep it going, right? So number 2 question is over under 65 receiving yards, right? Again, he's averaging over 100 per game currently right now. I think it's like 115 or something like that yards per game. Over or under 65 receiving yards, right? I put it at 4.5 catches. Most of you guys say he's going over, right? So he's getting at least 5 catches, possibly 6 catches. So what is the over under on receiving yards, right? 65. Now he's had a lot of big explosive plays, right, in the past game, his first 2 games. I mean 2 of the plays, right? I mean, he really caught the ball and really did damage with his feet. But do you think he over or under 65 receiving yards? I got another over here. Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think I feel right against the P4 defense. That's what the question is, right? So that's what the question is there. I think I'm gonna take the over on the yards, but I feel like I'm gonna take the under on the receptions. Yeah, for sure. This is the game NFL scouts will play. I know they're gonna give him the ball, right? But like you say, we don't want to force him the ball, right? We want it to definitely be, in rhythm. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think I'm gonna take the under on catches and I'm gonna take the over on receiving yards. That's where I'm at. But I see we got one over with Rich. So y'all let me know in the comments over under. Number 3. So this is an interesting one, right? Obviously, Cam Peters is gonna start the game, right? My question is, do you think he's gonna go over or under 21 snaps for this game, right? Obviously, it's a game against a P4 defense. One thing for sure, the number one thing on the list outside of Shamar Savage getting his tape is coming out of this game healthy, right? Coming out of this game healthy. So you got Cam Peters going over 21 snaps. You got him going under 21 snaps, right? Now, if he goes over 21 snaps, that definitely means the offense has definitely moved the ball and has definitely played very well against a P4 defense, right? If the offense is not playing well, if we're seeing a lot of 3 and outs, right, and we're not, you know what I'm saying, on the ball, controlling the clock, listen, it might not be over because it ain't gonna be. Listen, it ain't gonna be that many drives if we got drive after drive going 3 and out, right? So if it's over, that definitely means we moved the ball well in the first and the second quarter for sure, right? You know what I'm saying? I see Richard got over as well. Said these players won't film against competition like this. They don't want to send out these games for sure, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Mr. Bowers. That's what I'm saying, right? Health is super important, right? So you definitely want, you want your guys, definitely your starters on both sides of the ball to be healthy, coming out this game. So if the game gets out of hand, you obviously know that they're going to be pulling these guys, right? You know what I'm saying? And quarterback wise, you got Jaden Johnson, right behind Cam Peters. You also got the youngster Deuce Barrington, right? Who, again, he can play up to 4 games and still maintain his red shirt status, right? So this could also be a game that he could also get in and actually have an opportunity and a chance, you know what I'm saying, to play as well. So, I feel like we're gonna see a couple quarterbacks, in this game. And really just gonna depend on how well the offense plays that first quarter and early in the second quarter, to me, determines on whether he gets more or less of these 21 snaps, right? But if we can move the ball on the ground, it's definitely going to be more than 21 snaps, because obviously I think we're for sure going to try to control the ball and control the clock through the run game, right? Extend drives. And if we can do that, we'll be straight. So you got Cam going over 21 snaps. Elvin got him going under 21 snaps. I think this is for Savage, 4 receptions, 52 yards, and 1 carry for 7 yards. Okay, well, they're still under 65 yards and under 4.5 catches. So let's keep it going. Cam Peters throws for more than 100 passing yards. Y'all got Cam throwing for more than 100 passing yards or less than 100 passing yards? Now, I think this is an interesting one again, right? Because I'm almost certain you're going to see multiple quarterbacks this game, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure we're going to see Cam play the full 4 quarters. Again, if he plays the full 4 quarters, that's probably a good thing. That means we're in this game, right? You know what I'm saying? That means we're in this game even late. But I don't see him playing the full 4 quarters, right? As much as I would love for us to go to Michigan State and make history, the reality is showing that that might not happen, right? And so again, you want to make sure everybody comes home straight. So you say you're going to throw for more quick passes, short route screens. Yeah, I think they're definitely going to try to get the ball out of his hand for sure and get the ball playmakers. If those guys can make some plays, then you definitely going to see some yardage racked up, right? So Richard got it going for more. What you guys think? Drop it in the chat. Does Cam throw for more than 100 yards, or does he throw for less than 100 yards? You're going to keep it going. Another question. I think this is interesting too, right? We got I call them the young boom squad, right? I'm talking about Javen Jackson, talking about Aiden Jones, talking about Robert Edmondson, right? These guys have been seeing a lot of time on the field, right? Alongside Jeremiah Harris, who is, the elder statesman of the bunch, right? You know what I'm saying? Of course, our guy Warren Schenkel got hurt in that TSU game. And then also, you got a guy like Kwame Sokoti that came over from Northwestern, an older guy. But you got these 3 young guys, right? Who've been playing a lot of solid minutes for us, so far. Obviously, last game, you saw You saw Javen Jackson, you know what I'm saying, lead the team in tackles. I think he had 7 tackles last game. Aiden Jones had 5 tackles last game. I think Robert Edmondson had 3 tackles, right? You know what I'm saying? So total of 15 tackles last game. What do you think the Young Boom squad does this game? Do you think they rack up 15, more than 15 tackles this game, or less than 15, right? All right, too many variables. I'm going to say under. JB, too many variables for Cam Peters, so you're going to say under. He said more, that we get a lot of snaps for sure. Yeah, I think for the defensive side of the ball, I think you're going to see you're going to still see a lot of guys get snaps for sure, especially that young guy. So I feel like, you know, and I think they're going to see a lot of people, you know, in their level, right? You know what I'm saying, on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Even in the passing game, you know, having a chance to get guys on the ground. So I'm going to take the over on this as well. And those guys have been playing super well. So, you know, I'm excited to see them also play here in this game as well. Number 6, Connor Wisham and Lamar J. McDowell combine for more than 65 total yards. That's what I think I was trying to say 65 total rushing yards, by the way. So this is rushing yards. 65 total rushing yards. Connor Wisham and Lamar J. McDowell combined for more than 65 total rushing yards, right? What do you guys think? I know last game, both of them was able to do well on the ground. But Jimmy says Cam will throw for 150 yards. Okay, cool. Hey, listen. He throw for 150. That's a good game. That's definitely a really good game. You know what I'm saying? Against a P4, especially when you think about some of these teams is not moving the ball at all, right? You know what I'm saying? Jared says over. I got Richard with under here. You know, and the thing is, right? You know, you got to remember, you got Scooter Adams. I think this is a game, right, where you're gonna see some of Chunky. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely gonna see some of Chase Bingman, right, this game. So I think this is a game where you're gonna see more than those top 3 guys at running back. I think you're gonna see a couple more bodies as well. Because again, I think this is one of those games where, you know, a lot of guys are gonna be able to touch the field and play. And so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get that 65. If they do, again, that means that we're probably in this game later than we probably considered. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I definitely want to see Chunky. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen him so far yet, you know, this season. But he was very dynamic for us, you know what I mean, in spells last season. Now, this is one that goes along that line, right? With Cam Peters, with, you know, Lamar J and Connor. Does Prairie View's offense go for over 200 total yards? And again, this is against a P4 defense, right? And Michigan State has played well on defense, right? It's not even like they've not played well. They played well against Florida Atlantic, even though they moved the ball. They were very, very opportunistic, right? Didn't allow them in the end zone. Didn't allow a lot of scoring drives. I think Florida Atlantic only had 13 points that game. Against Maryland, they gave up 24 points, right? Maryland definitely is another dynamic Big Ten team, Big Ten school. They came out with that win. But does PV offense go for over 200 total yards? Obviously, last week 468, you know, total yards for the offense. You know what I mean? So what do you think the Prairie View offense does this week? Over or under 200 total yards? Y'all drop it in the comments. Y'all let me know your thoughts. And again, if you want to jump on and share your thoughts, call the number 516-253-3434. 516-253-3434. And also, if you look at the pin up at the top of the chat, you should see the StreamYard link as well if anybody wants to jump in on the show. All right. So more or less than 200 yards. More than 60 yards running, but will he more than 65? That's 65 for those 2 individuals. That's what the question was, right? You know what I mean? So more than 65 for those 2 individuals combined, not necessarily the whole team, right? But just those 2. Now, for the whole team, right? My next question is, Prairie View runs for more than 115 rushing yards. What's your thoughts there, right? Do you think the Panthers can run for more than 115 rushing yards this game? I'm gonna say we get this number for sure, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think we're gonna go for over 200 total yards, right? I definitely think we go for over 200 total yards. I think we're gonna go for more than 115 rushing yards, just because I think we're really going to. I definitely think we're going to definitely stay consistent, just like we did in the Northwestern game. of running the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think just the attrition, and obviously, again, if the game does obviously get away from us third, fourth quarter, I still think, right, we're going to definitely be looking to move the ball on the ground, right? Saying still look to run the offense and see what we got in different places. So I think we will eclipse this 115 rushing yards. I don't think it's going to be necessarily by that much, somewhere in that 125 range, I would say. And I think overall, right, we will definitely get over 200 passing yards, right? I don't think we'll, throw for, I would say somewhere in between that 125, 150 range total, right, all together. So I think we'll eclipse 200 yards total. That's my thought process, right? I see Martin said no to the 115 rushing yards. Again, what's your thoughts on the 115? He said take the starters out after the first quarter. Hey, listen, that's what we're saying. Hey, if it's not going well, then you got to protect your guys, right? Number 9, Prairie View throws for more than 150 passing yards. Again, this is total, right? You know what I'm saying? So we broke down, talk about total yards, talk about, rushing yards. What about total passing yards? I saw Jimmy said he thinks that Cam is going to throw for 150. So Jimmy definitely thinks we're going to throw as a team for more than 150 passing yards. What do you guys think overall, right? Again, this is the combination of whoever plays at the quarterback position, Cam, whether that's Johnson, whether that's Barrington, right? Whoever sees the field. Do you think these guys see more than 150 passing yards in this game? I hate money games so bad, my Lord. I hate them with a passion. Hey, listen, I hate money games, but I can't wait till we turn money games into get money games, right? That's what I should call them, right? Because these games are really important for a guy like Shamar Savage, right, who has NFL potential. You know what I'm saying? For him to be able to be on film, which really works well and it benefits the university. Because now you go and say, hey, this time next year, if you can say, man, you got a guy like Kadero Hodge in the NFL, you got a guy like Quentin Bell in the NFL, and then you got a rookie, Shamar Savage in the NFL, right? That bodes well for the university when you look up and say, man, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5 guys who are in professional leagues, right? And this is a game that helps to do those things like that. So, but listen, when you're in North Dakota State, it's not a money game. Like they getting paid from Colorado, but they also can beat Colorado, right? When it's San Diego State, it's South Dakota State, it's not a money game anymore, right? Because they actually can beat a New Mexico, right? So I also think if we turn our level up, we can be in a position where, it's not seen as a money game anymore. Because, for example, look at FAMU against, what was it, South Florida a year or 2 years ago. I mean, it was like 34-24 game or a 38-24 game, right? They lost by 14 points, but that was a competitive game. They put up 24 points. So it doesn't look the game they played against North Carolina a few years ago. Very competitive game into the fourth quarter. So I don't think these games have to be, a bad thing, right? If you have a team that can compete and be competitive. It's really only bad when it's a 69-0 skunk, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for the team to definitely be competitive, even if that means them only competitive in the first half and then it gets away from you because hey, listen, you got the guys, you got the numbers, you got the scholarships. It's understandable, but that shows that you can play with those guys. So says nobody has run for 100 versus Michigan State. Whew, okay. That's interesting. So yeah, so we're taking the under there. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we're saying looking at a morale and health standpoint for sure, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So one, I want to come out healthy. I think that's the number one thing we talked about is coming out healthy. And then number 2 is I think the morale is not low if you have a second, a first or a second or third drive where this team moves the ball down the field and they score, right? It's like, man, if we can score against a Power 5 team, then nobody in SWAC should be able to stop us, right? If we can, produce 2 or 3 and outs against Michigan State, whether that's against first teamers or second teamers, man, we can play defense against the SWAC schools, right? So I think it's also like if we not looking at the game in the totality of, okay, it was a 40-7 game versus like, man, in that third quarter, man, we went 3 drives where Michigan State didn't score. Or in the second quarter, man, we had 2 sustained drives where we maybe missed a field goal, but we got in field goal range, went 65 yards, and then we went another drive where we scored a touchdown, right? Like, to me, those are where it's like, those are beneficial things. You know what I'm saying? There we go. He said, just get on the scoreboard. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it going. Money games are necessary for the survival of many athletic programs. It may not be needed every year, but every other year. Yeah. And I think also, right, this is another thing. When we talked about this in the offseason, we can play money games and play money games that are winnable games too, right? So all the money games don't have to be Michigan State. For example, we have Rice next year. That should not be a game like what we saw with Texas Southern where they just got trounced, right? Remember a couple years ago at Rice, we really should have won the game against Rice, right? So there's those level of competition where you got Rice or you have a team like the ULM that Jackson State just played. They got paid for that game, right? Or another Sunbelt style school, right? Or Marshall. So there's some other games against teams where it's an FBS level team where you get paid, North Texas, for example, right? But it shouldn't be a game where you going in to get blown out, right? So I think that's also a level of competition that we can talk about too. We've talked about it before, but Prairie View defense creates a turnover. What do y'all think about that? Does the defense create a turnover? The defense has created a turnover in both of the first two games so far. Do you think that trend continues and that they create a turnover? And I say this saying that the Michigan State quarterback has thrown 5 interceptions so far this season, right? 3 in the first game, 2 in the second game. So he tends to give the ball away, right? He tends to miss. And so do you think we're able to create a turnover this game? I don't know about this one. I don't know if that trend continues, but you know, it would be nice, right? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say no to creating a turnover. Okay, like let's get to this one, right? Let's talk some defense now. Michigan State over or under 60 points. Over or under 60 points for Michigan State. Said the players are ready for this game. Great opportunity for quality film. Definitely. He said blame 80 for scheduling this game. Yeah, the 80 scheduled the game. I mean, I'm not really blaming him per se, right? Again, it's just I just think a lot of our money games over the past years have been placed in bad positions. I would have rather we played Michigan State this past week and Northwestern this week versus Northwestern and then Michigan State, because then you got Southern and Grambling coming up, right? So that's the only thing. It's just to me where it's located in the schedule is the bad issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I'm saying. So do you think Michigan State scores over or under 60 points? Jimmy says he thinks that this defense can get a turnover. He thinks that this defense can get a turnover. I'm gonna say under, man. I'm gonna say under 60 points for Michigan State. You know, I think this defense has played well. The question is going to be, how does the offense turn the ball over? Really, that's really where the conversation is, right? Because just like the last game, we turned the ball over. You know what I'm saying? And so if we turn the ball over, I mean, Michigan State is going to score a lot of points, right? You know what I'm saying? But if we just don't turn the ball over, you know, make them go and don't give up explosive plays and make them move the ball down the field, then I think the score won't get out of hand, right? You know what I'm saying? Martin says 56 points. Hey, listen, that's under. Hey, we'll take it. 56 is under, right? You know what I'm saying? So keep it moving. Does Michigan State score 3 or more touchdowns in any one quarter? Ooh, that's another one, right? So now what that means is Martin put 56 points, for example, right? They could score 2 touchdowns every quarter, and that's 56 points, right? But my question is, does any one quarter have Michigan State scoring 3 or more touchdowns, right? You know, you're talking about 21-0 in the first, or, you know what I'm saying, 21 points in the second quarter or third, etc. Do you think Michigan State scores 3 or more touchdowns in any one quarter, right? So that definitely would mean the defense is giving up some big explosive plays throughout this game if they're allowing, you know, 3 or more touchdowns in a quarter. I'm again say I'm gonna take the under on this and say no, right? Even though I do think I think Michigan State is gonna score, obviously, right? You know what I'm saying? Next thing, and this is another good question, right? What's your thoughts here? Will PV's defense hold Michigan State to under 45% on third down? Now, last game against Northwestern, I mean, we were extremely good on third down, right? I think like 3 for 13 for Northwestern. So we were great on third down. Even in the first game against TSU, if it wasn't for those two penalties, right, we had on third down, our third down percentage would have been even better than it was in the TSU game. How do you think the defense holds up? Now, again, I mean, if Michigan State is getting chunk plays throughout this game, they might not have a lot of third downs in the first place because first and second down, they're moving the ball very well, right? You know what I'm saying? But again, it's a question I got. Again, if you can get guys to third down, how you think the team is going to do on third down? Martin Warren says, yes, they will score 21 points in one quarter because PV's secondary is suspect. Yeah. Listen, that is the Achilles heel of the defense for sure. It is the secondary for sure. So so he says 21 points because I think you think they're going to go over top, and they definitely will have the ability to do that, right? And definitely will look to exploit that secondary. Jimmy says under 60 points though. So Martin says they're going to get 56 points and they're going to score 21 points in at least one quarter. I'm going to say that we this is a good one, right? Because I think it's going to be somewhere in this range, in that 40 to 50% range on third down. So I could definitely see it going anyway. But I'm gonna take the over on this and say Michigan State is like 50% on third down. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. Jimmy says they don't go for over. Okay, we'll see. All right, so this is another question we kind of asked earlier. How many quarterbacks play this game? And I'm talking about Prairie View now. How many quarterbacks do you think play this game? Again, you got Cooley is hurt right now, but you got Cam Peters, Jaden Johnson, you got Deuce Barrington, right? How many quarterbacks do you think play in this contest? Drop it in the comments. Just drop 1, 2, or 3 in the comments. Let me know. How many guys do you think play in this game? 1, 2, or 3. Jeff says all 3 play. Martin says 2. And 2, I'm guessing are you saying that Jaden Johnson plays and Cam Peters, or are you saying Deuce Barrington plays and Cam Peters? Who do you think those 2 are? Jared says 3. Elvin got 2. I'm going to say all 3 play this game because, again, Deuce can play and not lose a red shirt. So I think they'll definitely give him some, they'll give him some burn this game. You know what I mean? So we'll see. The block. Hey, listen, wait you gotta wait. Time is coming. Listen, the time is coming. All right. And listen, we just letting this week go by, and then we getting straight to it. All right. We get into it next week. Peters and Johnson. All right, cool. Mr. Bingman says 3. Hey, if Mr. Bingman say 3, I feel like he be knowing what he be talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, said Peters quarter 1 and then Johnson 2 to 4. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. That's kind of why I think these, you'll see multiple guys, right? Get them some reps in this game, right? And allow them to be ready if you need them. All right, now this is a real question. You talk about money games. Jess was in here. I don't know if she's still here. I know Jeff was talking about it. Do y'all think 500,000 is enough for this game against Michigan State? Is 500,000 enough for this game against Michigan State? Yes or no? If you say no, how much you think should have been the minimum for this game against Michigan State? So we got Martin with no, Elvin with no. So put in the comments, how much do y'all think we should have got for this game against Michigan State? You know what I'm saying? Would 750K be enough? Or do you think it needs to be $1 million? Like, where does it need to be? So I got a whole bunch of no's. Like, no. Okay, Jared said 750K. I got 1 million. I got 750K. I got 800K. All right. I'm kind of I'm thinking like, man, 750 is especially to travel to East Lansing, right? Because I think we got, if I'm not tripping, right, I think we got 750 or 700 when we played Texas A&M. If I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think we got 700 when we played against Texas A&M. That's right up the street, right? So if we are gonna go to East Lansing, right? You talking about the flags, you talking about hotels, etc. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, minimum 750 without the band. Yeah, for sure. Oh, you definitely talking about without the band. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely not with the band. He said we got 750 from SMU. That's a good point. And man, if SMU played a 750 and then we got a Big Ten school, and listen, they got a new TV contract. Them boys got the money. They definitely could have played us way more than that. The block says bring back Coach Northern when PV play the Jags. See who we're rolling with. Yeah, listen, Coach Northern is our newest co-host on our Sunday show called The Recap, man. So make sure you're checking it out every Sunday evening at 8 p.m., right? So we've actually completely rebranded the show. It's actually called now The Recap with Coach Heich Northam, right? So he is our newest co-host for the PV vs. Everybody channel. So yeah, man, this weekend, this Sunday, you're gonna be able to hear his thoughts, you know what I'm saying, regarding the upcoming game, PV against Southern. So don't worry, definitely check him out. All right. Said they have over $1 billion in the general operating fund. Listen, that's crazy, right? You know what I mean? That's $1 billion, yo. $1 billion, bro. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Over $1 million athletic. Listen, but I think their TV deal, the TV deal that the Big Ten has, I mean, they get like, I mean, double-digit $1 million per year. I mean, I want to say anywhere, I mean, it could be like 50, 60, 70 million per year per school. It's something really crazy. It's like a crazy amount of money. You know what I'm saying? So do you want HBCUs need to collude and not do for these for less than $750? Okay, yeah. I mean, hey, colluding would be a good thing. All right, so let's get into it. School like Michigan State should be $1 million. Does PV score? I saw one money line. I mean, one with a betting line, right? That said the score would be 40-0, right? I saw another one that said over under 50, but Michigan State, the spread is 40.5, right? So does Prairie View score is my question. Do we score? Do we get on the board? Listen, Alcorn hasn't scored against UAPB, and they didn't score against Vanderbilt. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a field, maybe there was a field goal against UAB, I think. What was Alcorn score? I think they scored a field goal, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 41-3, right? So they scored against UAB, but they didn't score against Vanderbilt, right? So I think the Vanderbilt score was like 44-0 or something like that. 55-0. Sorry. Ooh, even more than that. UAPB didn't score against Arkansas, right? SEC school. Does Prairie View score in this game? So Jared Lai says yes. Martin says 6 points, 2 field goals. Okay, 30 million per year. Yeah, I knew it was something. It's some number, you know what I'm saying? Said that kicker is gonna put us on the board for sure. In him and his leg, we continue to trust. Hey, listen, man. Hey, Guillermo Garcia has been automatic this year. I think he's like 7 for 7 on field goals, like 4 for 4 on extra points, something like 5 for 5 or something like that, extra points. The dude is killing this year, man. Like, he is doing his thing for sure. So he definitely gives us a great chance to score if we get in field goal range. So that goes to another question, right? That Martin put. He put 6 points, right? Do you think Prairie View scores 7 or more points? So we said we're going to score, but what that number look like, right? 7 or more points or less? You know what I'm saying? It's 30 million per school. All right, that's true. In Guillermo, we trust. Exactly. Does PV score 7 or more points? I know Martin says 6, right? Because listen, I would love if we at least, I mean, I'm looking for us to at least put 10 points on the board, right? If we put 10 points on the board, I'm extremely happy. And when I say 10 points, I'm talking about 10 points like before, like in the first 3 quarters. I'm not talking about fourth quarter, right? I'm looking at like first 3 quarters. If we can put 10 points on the board, I feel extremely happy with the situation, right? You know what I'm saying? One says yes, more than 7 points. I agree. Martin 2 field goals, 10 points. Okay, maybe 10. So now again, that leads to my next question: does PV score a touchdown? So based on what Jared's saying, you think we're gonna score a touchdown? Just 10. You saying maybe 10? That means that's a touchdown in there, right? Because Martin said 2 field goals, right? And then Jeff saying 17. Hey, listen, 17 points. Listen, I shake your hand. I take that any day of the week, right? I mean, Michigan State can have 56. If we score 17, I'm happy with that number. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm happy with that number. I mean, that's 3 times. That's 2 times we got in the end zone, right? Like, and that means we moved the ball well, right? So I would be extremely happy with 17 points. So yes, it's not 2 field goals and a touchdown for sure. So that leads me to my next question, which is in the line, right? Martin Lawrence says 2 field goals. See, 2 field goals mean that we got into field goal range twice, whether that's from a turnover and they got us in the range, whether it's a punt return, or whether that means the offense matriculated down the field 2 different times, right? Which to me, again, feels well, right? To do it once is good, but that if we move the ball in 2 different separate series down the field and get in scoring range, that again, we talking about the morale, talking about positives, right, from this game. That's positives to pull from this game. If we scored 2 times, right? You look at like FAMU, for example, against Miami, even though they didn't score a touchdown, they scored 3 times, right? Like they had 3 field goals in that game. So that means they moved the ball well enough to get into field goal range on 3 separate occasions. And so I'm looking for us to have multiple opportunities to score in this game. So like I say, I think we can score 10 points for sure in this game, and I would be happy at that number. Hey, listen, but I'm gonna go with Jeff. All right, you know what I'm saying? Jeff helping people buy houses. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? He know numbers, so I'm gonna go with the 17. Ron says yes. Say I don't know about twice now, but so you think so, Jared? But Jared, you said 10 points. If we scored, how we score 10 points without scoring twice? That don't even make sense. We got to score twice. You don't know now. You change your thought process. Then the last thing. All right, so this is the one I really want to know. Yes or no in the comments. Does PV cover the spread? So that's 40.5 points. So that means if we score 6 points, like Martin says, that we have to hold Michigan State under 46 points, right? All right, it can be 45-6. We would cover the spread, but we got to hold them under 46. If we score 10 points, like Jared originally said, then that means we have to hold Michigan State under 50 points, right? My question is, does Prairie View cover the spread? Okay, yeah, touchdown and field goal, not 2 touchdowns. Okay, I got you. Yeah. So that's 10 points. I'm with you. No, the band. I think the band is traveling to Michigan now, but I think it's under a completely different. It's not. That's not a part of the 500,000, right? I think there was a separate situation of funding that was set up for the band to travel. I think from what I was hearing in the alumni group. Now, I mean, if y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, he said no band, just says no band. So that's what I was hearing, that they was trying to set up a completely different situation to fund the band traveling, but it had nothing to do with the 500,000 though, for sure. So, but just says no. All right. No from Martin. Okay, we got Jimmy says we're gonna cover the spread. I like it. Jess says, ooh. All right. So does PV cover the spread? Listen, I'm this is a good one. Ooh, do we cover the spread? Do we cover the spread? You know what? I'm gonna say, that's a good one. Oh man, I'm gonna say, he said I'm a true homer. Wayne says 15 PV by 14 points. PV score 14 points or by 14 points. I'm gonna say we don't cover the spread, right? But I think we're gonna score. Like I'm gonna say we score 10 points, but I think I'm kind of like Martin is saying, okay, we're probably gonna give up around in that 50 range. I think we'll be in that 50 range. If we can be in that 40-point range, again, from a defensive standpoint, I'll also be happy with that, right? You know what I'm saying? But Jeff says no, we don't cover the spread. She says no, but we'll be on the board. Hey, listen, I take it. So hey, this game is don't get hurt week, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing, right? We want to come out healthy and getting ready for Southern, right? You know what I'm saying? I think this weekend, leading into next weekend, we're going to have a lot of conversation, right? We're going to have a lot of good film now. Southern is playing Jackson State this weekend, so we're going to really be able to see a little bit better what they are. Not seeing them against Savannah State, right? But we'll have McNeese film. We'll also have Jackson State film, of course, with the new quarterback, the freshman that they're bringing in. Then also we got Grambling playing Texas A&M Commerce, which we play both of those teams right this year. And so we're going to be able to see film from the Grambling Texas A&M Commerce this game this weekend as well. That's going to be another great film we're going to be able to check out, right? And so if you are a member, we're going to definitely do some film breakdown on that, man, and check that out as well. Mr. Beeman saying, coach, don't fold. Yes. All right. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. Know when to fold them, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? Yeah, listen. I'm just waiting until I'm letting them have their time, because it's Jackson State and Southern week this week. So I'm letting them have their time. But after this week over, listen, it's straight business. It's straight business we get into, right? But let's talk about it, man. Let's get to our top 10 and get to our HBCU title pie real quick before we close out today. And again, I want to remind everybody, if you want to call in, 516-253-3434, 256-343-2424. We got that set up for you. And also, if you want to join the StreamYard, you can just look at the link that's at the top, you know what I'm saying, as well. All right. So when we talk about this week in the top 10, let me just give you my thought process, right? You know what I'm saying? So Wayne says people gonna score 14 points. That's dope. I take it. I'm looking across the spectrum, and at the end of the day, right now, you always say to beat a man, you gotta beat the man, right? And so FAMU is still in the number one spot because at the end of the day, you can't move them out the number one spot. They ain't lost yet, right? 2 super close games, one against Norfolk, one against South Carolina State, but they were able to pull it through. Trailing going into the fourth quarter against South Carolina State. And again, this is probably why you guys see that I said that I think this is going to be a different year for FAMU. I definitely think this is going to be a year that they drop multiple games, right? They're a team that definitely has taken a step back. I don't think anybody, even FAMU people now, aren't saying this is the same team as last year. It's as talented team as last year. It is different. But Daniel Richardson has been playing very well, extremely well for them, and helping to get the job done. And if they have a quarterback that can help them matriculate the ball down the field, they're gonna be in games. But FAMU still is in my number one spot. Second place in the rankings got North Carolina Central. Didn't have a great showing against Elon, right? But Elon is a playoff bound team. They're a team that is going to play tough and play well against any HBCU. But I will say Walker Harris definitely looks shaky, right? First game against Alabama State and also the second game against Elon. He does not look great to me at all, right? And so they're definitely going to have to figure that out if you're talking about North Carolina Central, first and foremost, winning the MEAC conference, right? Because they have a challenge to win the MEAC conference, not just even, when we talk about everything else that's going on. Number 3, I know Morgan State took a loss to Townsend, right? Very close game, 14-9. But again, you saw why defensively, defensively, they are always going to be there, right? Offensively, they took a step back. The first game against Hampton, you saw them be able to move the ball a lot more on the ground, 30 points. But back to the old Morgan, only put 9 points up against Townsend. But I still think Morgan State, just with that defense, is so solid right now. And it's still early on, right? We still really are figuring a lot of these teams out. I have them listed in the 3rd spot as well. Number 4, I got Jackson State. These rankings are still right, of course. Listen, hey, I do what I do. All right. So number 4 is Jackson State. Yes, and FAMU has 2 D1 wins. That is correct. Exactly. You can't take anything from that. Number 4, Jackson State. Listen, at the end of the day, they were in that game against ULM. Now, whether you like how TC called that game, whether you think he's too conservative or not, they were in that game. They played well against a FBS opponent, right? Now games aren't equivalent, but ULM went the next game and slapped UAB in their mouth, right? So at the end of the day, Jackson played very well. Again, they played Lane the next game. I mean, that doesn't matter, right? It's neither here nor there. Can't take anything from that game. This weekend against Southern will be another game really where you can judge Jackson State on what they are. But I think from the ULM game, right, they show that they are a team that really is, neck and neck with FAM, saying they got a shot to win the SWAC this year. So I got Jackson at number 4. Number 5 said Jackson should not be ranked above any team with a D1 win. I mean, but they play ULM really, really good, right? You know what I'm saying? They were in that game for essentially 3 quarters of the game, right? So, I got to give them something for that because they really, outside of that, they haven't even played a D1 game yet, right? They haven't played a D1 FCS game, so it's kind of hard for me to judge them when they haven't played a D1 FCS game. Number 5, I got Howard. Now they were close when they had against Mercyhurst, right? But I think quarterback-wise, I think they definitely have found their guy in Scroggins, right? I think definitely, they like his ability on the ground, his ability to get his ball to playmakers, right? And of course, they still got a stacked running back room, there at Howard. Hunter went off this past game, so over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, we talk about Howard, right? They're still going to be, first and foremost, look to run the ball. They're still going to have a solid defense, right? And so I think, again, they're neck and neck, right? If I had to choose two teams in the MEAC right now that I think are my top two teams, is Howard and Morgan State right now, right? Those are the two teams right now that, to me, in the MEAC kind of, early on, right, are showing kind of that's what they are. I like South Carolina State too, but I think those are the two teams. Next, I got Tennessee State. Again, listen, you go to North Dakota, listen, good luck, okay? Good luck. Can't really do anything with that, right? But Draylon Ellis, right, he's playing pretty well. Still played pretty decent in the North Dakota State game. Obviously played a great game against Valley the first game of the season. You ready to see how they get into conference play. And this is one of those teams, right? You talk about A&T, you talk about Hampton, you talk about Tennessee State. It's kind of hard to judge when you talk about HBCU because they don't have a lot of games against HBCUs. Really, A&T and Hampton's a little bit easier because they're gonna play some MEAC foes right throughout the season. But Tennessee State is a little bit harder to judge. They got UAPB this week. Again, that's a team that no one in the SWAC expects to be challenging. So, Tennessee State right now should come out and should dominate this game. And they need to if they want to continue to keep it rolling with their hopes for what they want to do in the OVC this year. Number 7, I got South Carolina State University. Now, didn't get the dub against FAMU, but had them on the ropes, man. You know what I'm saying? Had them on the ropes. This is definitely a team that if you think about boxing, you say, hey, man, listen, you went up against the champ. The champ has the rematch clause, right, in their contract. So if they would have lost, they get to get you again immediately. You didn't win. The champ not about to play you. Listen, they're not about to fight you again right now. But listen, you're gonna drop down to probably number 4. Not gonna be the number 1 challenger. But if you take care of your next fight and you take care of the fight after it, you're right back up with a chance at the belt. That's what South Carolina State is right now, right? They got a chance. You know what I'm saying? They went and handled the business against Citadel 23-20. I'm really interested to see what South Carolina State is going to do, throughout the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, man, I got Norfolk. Virginia Tech is a good D2 school, right? So I'm not knocking Norfolk for a close game against Virginia State. Mr. Carey, I saw you come on. You just dropped off. Just jump back on. I'm not knocking them for that, right? Again, East Carolina, I'm not judging them on that game. But again, got that win, played well against FAMU. I think again, if they go back and say, man, if I could play that game over, I think they open it up a little bit more and put a little bit more trust in Jalen Daniels and see how it goes, right? Because if they can pass the ball a little bit more in that second half and be successful, that may be a completely different game, right? So Norfolk, you definitely got to put them there. Obviously, Texas Southern, the first team in the conference, period, with the win. Listen, they came to Prairie View. They dominated on defense. They played almost a perfect game. Only 2 penalties throughout the whole game for 25 yards. They got the job done. They ran the ball. They was consistent. So listen, you have to have them. You have to have them in your rankings, man. And so I got Texas Southern list number 9 again. Not the showing against Rice that I would hope, because Rice is not one of those high-level FBS teams that I think you should be losing by 60 points to. So I'm really disappointed that Rice lost so bad to Rice. But hey, listen, take that on the chin, get back. Again, you're still in a great position. You're leading the SWAC West right now. So come back, get things in order. You got a bye week, and then you got Lamar before Jackson State, before your next SWAC game, right? So come back, take this rest, get things ready. I really want to see them against Lamar, right? Because Lamar should be a game that they can play against this Lamar team, right? This Southland team, we need to do well against Southland teams as a SWAC, period, right? You know what I'm saying? And so they got a chance to come in, and if Valley can be in a game against Lamar, Texas Southern needs to show that they can play with Lamar, right? Who also has hopes to do something in Southland this year. So I got Texas Southern 9. And then I got PV number 10, right? Prairie View. Just when I look at when I look across the board, right, I don't like what I'm seeing from Southern's offense, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't like what I'm seeing from Graham's defense at all whatsoever. So when I'm just looking at the rest of the teams, I think Prairie View is, a team that, first of all, in the SWAC is the only team right now with an out of conference win against another D1 program, right? So that has to mean something, right? Regardless of where Northwestern is going to end in the Southland, we've not done a great job of beating Southland teams, as a SWAC throughout the years. And so to be able to go into Northwestern, to be able to pull that win out, right? And now, again, right, you really dominated the game when you talk about yardage, when you talk about offense, defense. But again, penalties, mistakes, let the game be closer than what it should have been. You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, I got them ranked number 10 in the ranking. Last week I didn't have them ranked at all. We weren't ranked at all, right? We deserve to be ranked. But now I got us number 10, right? And waiting to see this week. Again, we're still going through a lot of high level FBS games, right? Like fam got Troy this week. I mean, it's just a lot of games we got to get through. That at the end of the day, you kind of can't let it affect you, right? I mean, Alcorn has played UAPB and Vanderbilt. They can't now. I know they don't feel happy about the offense and where they at, but you can't really let that affect you at all. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you haven't even seen yourself against the FCS component, against a comparable opponent yet. So everybody still should kind of feel okay until we start getting into play. So we got really a week or two left before we really start getting into conference play, right? And then by that time, people should kind of be able to start figuring out what it really is, right? So that's all I got. Carrie, I know you had jumped on. I don't know if you come back on. I know you want to share something. He says, I'm sorry, but North Dakota State is an FCS team, a top 10 team. Yeah, for sure. And Tennessee State, listen, that's hard. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard one right there. He said, I'm not feeling this ranking. Man, what you're not feeling about this ranking? Man? They say, Lionel, you finally called something right. Listen, I call a lot of things right. A lot of things right. Not feeling this ranking. Just let you know. And then you turn down your background, Carrie, because I can hear your background. And then that last game, minus the discipline issues, got me hype on where we're going. Yeah, and listen, that's why I say, right, when I look at a part of it is also judging the team, right? And so
there we go.
Ceiling is really high, right?
I don't know why I can't hear it on my laptop. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Sure. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't know why I don't hear my audio.
I can hear you. You just can't hear me. Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
You good now?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Oh, I can hear you now. I just want to tell you, I thought your ranking is pretty good. The Southern people are going to come after you since they had that spectacular win against the really tough opponent they had last week.
Savannah State was really Savannah State is a really bad team. Like a really bad team.
Yeah, so but that's all I wanted. I just wanted to tell your listening audience that I made it to Michigan with one leg. But I'm gonna limp to the game.
Harry, you're in Michigan?
Oh yeah, just got here.
Oh wow, I didn't know you're in Michigan. I didn't know PV fans traveled.
Oh yeah, we don't go nowhere, but at least let off script tell it. At least 2 of us or 3 of us to get on the road.
Okay, that's what it is then. Since it's 2 or 3 of us, I understand.
Right, 2 or 3 of us are here. So I just wanted the audience to know I'm not scared. I'm up here.
Yeah, Michigan State check is definitely going clear. That's what's up. So hey, let's get into the title pie since you're here, man. This is our last segment for the show before we close out. So you can let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong. EA is on here too. You can let me know if I got this right or not too. You know what I'm saying? But listen, so let's look at title pie, man. So when I talk about title pie, we're not talking about rankings. Rankings and title pie is different. All right. Rankings is your percentage chance of winning the Celebration Bowl. That's what I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at it, man. What is this team's chance of getting it done in the Celebration Bowl? Now, when I look at the 2 teams that I'm putting at the top of that right now, I got FAM and I got Jackson. Now, understand that Jackson hasn't played an FCS opponent yet. I understand that. But they did play an FBS opponent, right? And they played them very well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving them credit for that. And I'm also looking at the fact that Alabama State essentially, by whatever in the world Eddie Robinson did on Sunday against North Carolina Central, which has now changed the whole fate of Alabama State. I just completely removed them out the ranking because listen, they ain't got no chance of winning the Celebration Bowl because they ain't got no chance of winning the East at this point, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's really Fam and Jackson in the East right now. So because of that, I have given both of them that chance, right? Because of where they are, right? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, hey, it's gonna come down to whenever they play. I forgot, you know what I'm saying? But right now those are the two teams there. Next up, I got the four MEAC schools because I got South Carolina State, Morgan, Central, and Howard. Again, this is a 5-game conference, right? All of them right now are, to me, none of them have separated themselves from one another. Even. They all look very even, right? You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so that's why I got them all there at 10.1%, right? South Carolina State, Morgan, North Carolina Central, and Howard. After that, right, I also have Prairie View at 11.1%. Now, people might say, well, that's a homer move, but listen, I'm just basing this on the reality of what I look at when I look at the teams themselves, right? When I look at Grambling and what I've seen from Grambling, their offensive line, their defense, right? When I look at Alcorn and what I've seen, when I look at Southern and what I've seen, or UAPB, right? I'm looking at the rest of the teams in the West, or Texas Southern, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the rest of the team in the West, and I'm also looking at the schedule that each team has left. You know what I'm saying? Prairie View still has I think Prairie View of all the teams in the West has the highest ceiling of all the teams in the West, right? You know what I'm saying? And when I look at Texas Southern, who I have at 9.1%, I have to increase their percentage because, listen, they're 1-0 in the West with 7 games left to go in conference, right? So that has to mean something, you know what I'm saying? Because if they can now get over, hey, if they can go in and say, man, and beat a Jackson, for example, right? Listen, that completely changes everything. But now, because they have a Jackson left on the schedule, a FAMU left on the schedule, because they have to go to a Grambling, right? Like those things, it's like, man, that schedule is really tough. So it's still hard for me to see that Texas Southern gets through the rest of their league schedule without multiple losses, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. Even after beating Prairie View. And so that's why I have them at a little bit lower percentage. I know Alcorn is a little bit lower. I see Mr. Campbell said Alcorn frowning for that small slice. But listen, right now, Alcorn is sad about Alcorn. So I don't think they will argue with me about anything because right now they're just worried about whether they're going to have an offense or not. Now, I think they should calm down because you play 2 FBS opponents, right? Wait till Edward Waters is going to settle you down. Wait till the McNeese game, and then you can really judge based on the McNeese game, right? So settle down, calm down. But I do, listen, when people say you ain't got no quarterback, even with what Lucas Cooley did in the first game, I would take Lucas Cooley over what I've seen from both of Alcorn quarterbacks so far, right? You know what I'm saying? So
tough sled.
And I feel like leading into the year, it was almost the opposite, right? And so Alcorn, hey, they got to figure it out from an offensive standpoint. They haven't shown anything on offense yet to get you excited, right? And then, of course, Grambling is literally, man, if Crawley can win it for you because the defense looks porous and the offensive line looks porous, right? And so that's why I got them at 4%. And of course, I got Norfolk State at 2.5. I had to give them a percentage because if they can establish their run game in games and play solid defense like they did that first game, they're going to be
that defense. Nice.
That's my thoughts. What you think, man, about my title pie?
Well, until you said what you said about the quarterback, I was about to tell you I would have gave a little of the TSU pie to the big bad Braves, like G like to call them. But I forgot about the quarterback situation. And of course, the Jaguars, after their spectacular win, feel like they should have a piece. But I might would slide a little bit of Texas Southerns to Grambling, but Grambling does have a tough road. But so does Texas Southern. I think our loss.
I think Grambling's road is actually way easier than Texas Southern's. Actually, I don't think Grambling plays.
Give a little bit of Texas Southern's pie to Grambling. But the only thing, and I guess I'm being a homer, but Grambling still has to come through the State Fair Classic and the Bayou Classic. And no matter how bad Southern can be, those are two, and even how bad PV can be, those can be two, tough games.
Man, I mean, listen to Grambling's schedule, right? And now based especially on, again, Alabama State dropping off the map at quarterback changes a lot of things, right? Yeah. A lot of the conversation, right? So Grambling has Commerce this week. Then they have Jackson, but Jackson is not a conference game, right? So Grambling has Prairie View, Alcorn, UAPB, Texas Southern, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, and Southern.
Wow.
Grambling's schedule looks really good right now, based on the fact, especially on the fact that Alabama State does not have Andrew Body playing quarterback, right? Because
and
that was
have
one
the front seven they had last year either.
They don't have a game against Jackson nor against FAMU on the East, right? Now, Alabama A&M is a game that to me they have to watch because I picked Alabama A&M to win that game. So I think that's a game that, listen, they could definitely lose that game. But again, right, UAPB, you're not scared of that game. You're not scared of BCU game. You're not scared of the Southern game or the Texas Southern game or Alcorn right now, right? And you traditionally beat Alcorn in the hole anyway. So you're right. I mean, really, the State Fair Classic bows up to say, man, whoever wins that game is in pristine position, and especially if you're Grambling, because you literally have a schedule that lines up very well for the rest of the year, man. So Grambling has a great schedule, but Texas Southern has a really, really, really tough schedule the rest of the year. I can pull up their schedule as well. Let me see. I thought they played both FAMU Jackson. No. Okay, nope. There are a lot of FCS versus FCS games this weekend. Yeah, so the FCS versus FCS game, I think this weekend is going to show us a lot more. Like Graham plays Texas A&M Commerce. Yeah, we don't give you no respect for those games. That just is what it is. Yeah, so Graham has the easiest schedule right now. Let me look up Texas Southern schedule the rest of the way because they have, I think, a lot tougher games, right? So they got Lamar after the bye week. Then they got Jackson State. They get them at home though. Lynchburg, okay, whatever. They get Southern at home. They get Grambling at home. So those 3 games are in Houston. So that's good. But again, I mean, we know Texas Southern has no home field advantage. That doesn't mean anything, right?
No, the soccer stadium don't do
Then they have to go to FAMU and they have to go to Alcorn. And even though they beat Alcorn before at home for their homecoming, again, we already know how it is playing in Alcorn, right? You know what I'm saying? Then they get Bethune-Cookman at home and they go to UAPB, right? So they have to play Jackson and FAMU, right? They obviously got Graham, and then they have to go to Alcorn. So, I mean, they have a few games there that shows like, hey, they could drop a couple of the games. You know what I'm saying? So their schedule is definitely tougher than the Grambling schedule.
Yeah, that's a tough road going to Alcorn. So, yeah, that's going to be – and they got to go to Bragg.
They got to go to Bragg. They got to go to Alcorn, but they do get 3 home games against Grambling, against Jackson, and against who's the other team? Grambling, Jackson, and Southern. Those are all home games. No, sorry, not Southern. Yeah, Southern. Southern, Jackson, and Grambling all home games.
Yeah, but
Texas Southern has no home field advantage, right? So
they play pretty good up in Houston. I don't know what it is about that stadium, but they don't. To me, they take more games on the road than at home.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting, though. You know what I'm saying? Wow, Northwestern just lost 87-10.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they were playing South Alabama.
Yeah, FBS team.
Yeah, South Alabama did not have any mercy on them. Listen, as long as we don't get beat 87-10, we're doing something right. All right. So, but yeah, man, with that being said, any last words for the folks, man? You know what I'm saying? Or do you think anybody on this pod needs to get a different percentage, a lower or higher percentage before we close?
South Carolina State, I like theirs, but as you just read out, I'd like to give Grambling a little more and Texas Southern a little less. And Alcorn, I'll leave them where they're at. I'd take a little bit off of Texas Southern and give it to Grambling. Maybe give Grambling about 7%, and Texas Southern about 6%. And Southern I can't.
Richard, you're late. Okay, you got fantasy love at the beginning of the show. I gave you your fantasy love. That shows that you wasn't on time. All right, you know what I'm saying. All right, it says PZ said he okay with the Alcorn percentage for now. Hey, listen, PZ Alcorn. All right, so if he okay with the percentage, y'all can't come for me. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can't come for me. But like I said on G&M channel, PZ, I don't think y'all should be tripping right now because y'all done played 2 FBS games. Y'all ain't even played no games against FCS competition yet. So
you don't even know.
Is y'all can see the game against McNeese and have a whole different mindset and thought process about your offense, you know what I'm saying, about your special team. So I think y'all should just wait till after this Edward Waters and McNeese game, and then you'll really, really know kind of where you at and where you stand. So, you know what I mean? State Fair Classic is on the 28th.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? State Fair Classic is on the 28th. And Richard, you know what I'm saying, since you think you're not getting no love, Richard, listen, let me show some love. You finished second, but my man Kerry right here is first this week in our PV fantasy football. And Richard is at the top of the leaderboard. All right. You know what I'm saying?
All you got to do is put Shamar Savage on your team.
It's top of the leaderboard. All right. So let me show Rich some love. He's over here thinking I ain't showing no love. You know what I mean?
I see you, Richard.
That's what I'm saying. And then, I mean, look at that, right? Like, I mean, honestly, Alcorn schedule, right? Like, look at Alcorn schedule. PZ just mentioned that, right? When you look at Alcorn schedule, look at their next games. I mean, their schedule is set up so well for them to get rolling and get going and to figure things out. They have Edward Waters, D2 school, should be able to get the offense going. Then you got McNeese, which is a good challenge, right? See where you at. You saw what Southern did against them, right? So you can look at that film, that tape, try to figure some things out. If you haven't figured things out, you still got Valley and then UAPB to figure things out. So, and those are games that you should be able to win and figure out at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So Alcorn can still come. They can, by the time they figure it out, they can say, we got it now, and still be 3-0 in conference. You see what I'm saying? Or 2-0 in conference, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why like they really don't need to worry yet, right? Like it ain't really time to panic yet because y'all still got time, and you don't need to panic because really, to me, like I say, the rest of the West don't show you nothing that scares you, right? I think we have the highest ceiling in the West, right? When you look at offensive weapons that we have, etc. I think Prairie View has that highest ceiling from what we've seen so far, even with the Texas Southern loss. But really, it's like, do any team really in the West scare you for real, right? Like, no. So you really just need to wait and just kind of let things settle and see. Now, the thing I said, and I had a conversation even with Coach Whedon about this, is like, man, he also feels like the ceiling is really high. Like, man, this ceiling is high. Now it's like, the only thing is I feel like in the middle of the year, Prairie View really is going to be rolling, especially on offense. Like, we're going to be really rolling. The thing is we have Southern and then Grambling before the peak of the season, right? Before that 6th game, we got Southern and Graham. So on our way to our peak, we still got to be able to win those games on the way to the peak. Now, I think they're confident that they still can get the job done in those 2 games while we're still elevating toward our peak, right? Because literally mid-season, I think it can be scary what we could be, you know what I'm saying? Especially from an offensive and defensive together side of things. Because I keep telling people, y'all are letting the score fool you guys and not realizing that the defense only gave up 17 points this past game, right? It was 2 pick sixes. The defense played well. The team that had less than 150 yards passing, right? Without that last drive where, he gave it that big chunk play, right? Rushing, we didn't give up that. I mean, I think they had total had less than 250 yards, right? You know what I'm saying?
They did. Right,
so the team played extremely well, right? You know what I'm saying? And then I would say Graham has has some offensive weapons. I think the thing with Graham we've seen, even with Tuskegee showed though, is they are vulnerable up front. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and watch the Tuskegee game, man, it's like Crawley was running for his life a lot of times. Yeah, that's why they end up pulling him in the second half, because like, man, he was getting hits. So Valley has no home field advantage no more. EA, how are you tied with Jackson State? We have already beaten 2 MEAC teams this year, have beaten every MEAC team in the last 5 years. Yeah, because again, it's your percentage chance of winning, you know what I'm saying, the Celebration Bowl. That comes down to that one game. Right now, y'all are tied because each of y'all really, based on what we've seen so far, just need to beat each other.
About the same,
right? You know what I'm saying? If whoever wins that game really is they have the highest percentage chance of winning the Celebration Bowl. That's what I'm saying right now. So not necessarily, again, that's why you number 1 in the rankings though, because you have won those 2 games. So listen, the kid says Savage Kid is special. So another thing I'm going to be doing, right? throughout the rest of the season, right, is, and I got DeAndre Cooper. I did have a conversation with him, man. He said he's going to come on the show. He is the all-time receiving yards leader for Prairie View. I'm going to start a Samar Savage tracker because the total receiving yardage leader is 1,038 for Prairie View for one season. Samar Savage has 238 yards so far through 2 games. He got 10 games left. So, we're going to see where he at after this game, but you're probably going to start seeing it. I'm going to have a Samar Savage tracker each and every week as he on his way to see if he can, if he can break this record, this all-time record this year, because he is definitely on the way, right? He's definitely on the way.
Yes, he's nice. And that's without force feeding him the ball. So it's interesting he could get those numbers when we have to spread the ball to so many people like, Scooter and some of the other players as well, Kobe Cavill, just all of them. It's not like he's just your feature guy and he's the only one to get it and everybody else get 2 or 3 catches. He has to share those catches. And in that last game, if you really pay attention, we ran a lot too. So he didn't really get that many opportunities with all the rushing that we did because we really turned on the run game. And this week, I would imagine we're going to give some other guys some looks as well,
for sure.
Because everybody want to get a chance to play against an FBS opponent, get some of that tape for the coaches at the next level, and also just see what they can do. Since you can't be an athlete and not think you're better than the next athlete you line up with, and they just want to see that for themselves. So.
Yeah, and I would say, Peasy, that Graham, I think Tuskegee left some points on the field too because they just literally missed some passes too. That's another thing. So they really could score more than 20 points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and EA, we don't have to win and brag. We play FAMU in Prairie View this year, so we don't have to win and brag. We just need to win in Prairie View.
Yes, and we clean up those penalties coming up, and the penalties we got, during that last game were not penalties that can't be fixed. We just got to learn to.
Because those are like a lot of those are after the play and stuff like that.
Yes.
So and I can't wait for this game. Like honestly, these next 3 weeks after this Michigan State game, I'm really excited about, right? Especially, man, to see getting through Southern, getting through Graham, and seeing how we look there. Then I'm really going to be excited how do we look against an Incarnate Word team that's ranked in the top 25, right? Because my ultimate thing is we need to be competitive in games like this, right? You know what I'm saying? Competitive in Michigan State game, but really competitive against other FCS top level competition. So, but listen, we'll take everything one game at a time, 1 week at a time, regardless of who we got on the schedule, and we'll get it done, man. So, with that being said, man, I appreciate everybody for coming on and joining us, man. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Show love. My guy Kerry is my other co-host on Sunday show, the recap with Coach Heist Northern, right? You know what I'm saying? We're going to be on again this week, breaking down the games from this past weekend. So make sure you come jump on and check it out, man. We got some great segments that we're going to be bringing on and presenting this week. So make sure you come and check that out as well. Make sure y'all get with EA, right? Because obviously he don't understand how the schedule works this year. And Prairie View is hosting the SWAC championship. So listen, you know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all remind him so he understands, how these things work, how these things go. Make sure y'all check him. Hopefully he comes in November so y'all can also introduce him, you know what I'm saying, to what we do to fam in person. You feel me? But watch party this weekend for the game. Y'all make sure y'all pull up to that as well. Definitely hit the like button, man. Yeah, just hit the like button. Let the algorithm do its thing. Appreciate Peasy for jumping on, man. Big Bad Braves and everybody else, man. I know Truth Seeker wasn't on tonight, man, but TSU, appreciate you showing love. I saw Mr. Campbell in the chat, EA, you know what I'm saying, showing love as well. So let's get it done this weekend, man. I'm excited to see the game against Michigan State and see what we can learn about ourselves and about our team, man. Because listen, I still say this the year, man, we get it done. Yeah, we trying to listen. We got to stay healthy because we don't want to come back and not have our team ready to play against Southern. We don't want no excuses. So we got to come back.
No excuses, no.
All right, man. We'll see y'all later. Hey, Peasy, make sure y'all put 60 up on every water so y'all can come on confident, you know what I'm saying, on the golden helm, you know what I mean, this week. You know what I mean? I need y'all happy and confident, right? You know what I'm saying? So, all right, I'll holler at y'all later.
Have a good night.
Later.